I don't know if Ubisoft upset Japan. It's more like they're the company at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because you see, for a while, Japan has absolutely dominated the West when it comes to entertainment at a global scale. And because of that, the spiteful West is now morally lecturing Japanese people. They're harassing Japanese artists on Twitter. They're trying to impose terms of service in Japan. The United Nations is making pressure on Japan. Like, everyone is focused on Japanese entertainment. And the Japanese are pretty much pissed. It's like, look, your shitty morality has destroyed your own entertainment. Like, you guys in the West, you used to be the ones that were dominating the world with your comic books. Everyone knows about Superman, everyone knows about Power Girl, everyone knows about Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, even the Japanese used to have Japanese commercials with Arnold Schwarzenegger. Like, you guys were on the top of the world when it came for entertainment, and your morality, your values, have destroyed your own entertainment, and now you want to sell your values to us? How about you go fuck yourselves? How about that? And we can make business, we can make profit, we can sell Japanese soft power to people, and we can actually take the money that you guys didn't want to take from the customers that you guys were spiteful towards. And so when the Westerners go to Japan and you're like, oh, you're not diverse, you're not inclusive, the Japanese people are sick of that shit. They are absolutely disgusted with those values. And when given an opportunity, they will not hesitate to use those values to beat the living shit out of the moralizing Westerner. And so it just so happens that Ubisoft was at the wrong place at the wrong time. Because, again, like, part of the moral values that the West is championing in the world, it's like, well, you shouldn't be offensive, right? Like, you shouldn't offend people with the art. You should be very respectful of other people's cultures. And now that they're making a game that's taking place in Japan, the Japanese people are doing everything they can in order to fuck with Ubisoft. Well, it's like, okay, you disrespected our temples. Did you disrespect the mosque, or did you disrespect a Jewish temple? No? Why not? Why are you coming after our temples then? Why are you disrespecting that? You're disrespecting our emperor. You're disrespecting the fact that you can't differentiate between Japanese and Chinese letters. You're disrespecting this, you're disrespecting that. And it's like a constant attack. Just like non-stop attack on Twitter against Ubisoft. And so Ubisoft is trying to save face. They're giving various interviews to places like 4Gamer. They're trying to reach to the Japanese people. And they're basically saying that, look, our game is true to history, but what we mean is that we're true to the history of the era. So what we're trying to do is to create a world that is convincing to play. We're not actually trying to stay true to the historical characters. And so they're trying to admit that the problem that people have with Assassin's Creed is that it actually does advertise itself as a historical game. And I will tell you what I mean by this. In the original Assassin's Creeds, Ubisoft was actually so proud that they hired a team of historians that they would use it in their advertisements. So it was basically like, we have a team of historians that studied the era and studied the people living in those era, and they are the ones that wrote the script for the game, and they are the ones that help our artists create the world. And, we have a little twist on history. Like, maybe a person died of old age, but in reality they got assassinated, and there's like a conspiracy going on that, it fits the actual history. And we're trying to make this cool and awesome game. And the good part about it is that it actually convinced a lot of people to learn about history. Like, you would play Assassin's Creed, and you would read the codex, and you would read the trivia about Italy and Florence and stuff like that. And that would motivate you to then start looking at some documentaries, maybe reading some historical texts. Like, it was an educational game. It's how many people that I know from the internet actually got into learning about history and learning about the Vatican and the various popes that were there. Like, the game stimulated them to learn that. But as the series goes, we end up in Greece. And the people who make Assassin's Creed, they even said, look, we have like this image on a piece of pottery that has a teacher schooling a boy and a girl. Now, we know that during that time era, women weren't allowed to become scholars, but we wanted to be inclusive. So, like, at that Assassin's Creed, the one where they also introduced a female character that looked like a man, and, like, no one acknowledges that she's a woman, no one wolf whistles her, no one is puzzled that the woman is carrying weapons. Like, it's pretty much like playing as a male character is just like a cosmetic choice. Like, that's the game where they started pushing for inclusivity. And that's the game where, again, they stopped caring about history, and they were trying to insert their values. Now, the interesting thing with Yasuke is that while they pushed for this thing that Yasuke is a Japanese person, is a person from the history of Japan, and his big thing, you notice that Wikipedia changed their articles. You notice that in the West, the journalists changed their talking points. Like, for a while, they were actually trying to convince Westerners that, no, like, Yasuke was this important Japanese historical figure, and, you know, they want to tell the story of him, until they got the pushback from actual Japanese people, the same way that Netflix got the pushback from the Egyptian government. Literally the same, because other nations actually care about their history. And they were like, no, we see what you're doing. You're being subversive. This is not like about a video game that you created for fun. Like, no, you actually put ideological intent behind this video game. Like, you're trying to create subversive media, and you're trying to sell it off into our country, and we're going to make sure that everyone knows about it. Like we're going to put you into the spotlight. We're going to criticize you in front of all these people. Like, you're allowed to sell your game here, but we're going to give you like a massive ideological push to make absolutely sure that everyone knows what they're buying. And so this is when they're starting to backtrack, and they're like, well, no, actually, okay, well, it's just a game. Well, it's just fiction, bro. But let's put it this way. If people genuinely believed that everything Ubisoft says about Yasuke is true, like the story of Yasuke from Ubisoft is true, because this happened in the past, by the way. You know, like, someone released a historical movie that took a lot of artistic creativity and took a lot of different interpretations, and then it actually changed the culture. Dance with the Wolves is one of them. Like, people watch Dance in the Wolves, and the myth of the noble savage in tune with nature, and they're in harmony with the nature. Like that actually became cultural thing. And you can actually accomplish the same with video games. And so if people would have genuinely believed that, like, yeah, Yasuke is a real figure, and everything he did in Ubisoft video game Assassin's Creed is what he did in real life, do you honestly think that people from Ubisoft would have came out and said, well, you know, it's just like a story, it's just a fiction, we don't really... No, they would have doubled down, and they would have insisted that, yeah, no, this is actually historically accurate, blah, blah, blah. How do I know? Because Wikipedia did it. Right? Like, Wikipedia actually was changing articles and was banning people that were demanding for proof that Yasuke was a samurai and he played an important role within Japanese culture. And so it's kind of hilarious to see now Ubisoft going around Japan and trying to apologize, and please don't sue us, Japanese government, because apparently, I don't know exactly how the religion in Japan operates, but there is an organization that cares about Japan's temples and their images, and they're thinking about suing Ubisoft. The recent accusations that in the game you will be able to loot the emperor's tomb for Japanese relics, that also is problematic, because Japan does have laws to defend against slander towards the imperial house. It might not be good for Ubisoft. It would be hilarious if it's like the only Western game that actually gets banned in Japan. I don't know if it will go that far, but they're really pushing the envelope. Like, they're really struggling. Again, it's like the fact that they claim they have a team of people that is supposed to make sure that the game isn't offensive just shows how shit they are at their job. Like, even I, who am not an expert, would tell you, yeah, you know, just don't pick about the royal house. Like, don't actually have the main character rob the royal tomb inside the game. Like, that's crazy. I would have said the same about England, by the way, even though there are no laws there. You would be able to tell them, like, no, look, when it's about the royal house, you know, like, don't have Lara Croft rob the tomb of some British king. No, just no. There have been mangas that I understand which got cancelled over this, but there also have been mangas which managed to depict like the emperor of Japan during World War II, but they depicted him in a positive light, right? Like depicted him in a historical accurate way, and that wasn't the problem. But they're very touchy when it comes to the royal house, the imperial house, right? As a company, you should kind of try to stay away from that. But anyway, we'll see what happens. Let me know what you think, and I'll see you guys in the comment section. Take care.